The end of round one and a vote for LaMotta.
There's some things that are going on in the Christian community that's getting really out of hand. It goes on in 3D life, but it's really on the internet. I don't know why, if it's an accountability thing or what. Christians are arguing with each other, whether it's in person or on the internet, and focus has changed. Do we worship contemporary or do we worship in hymns? Do we use an old version of the Bible or do we use new versions of the Bible? Do we have Reformed theology or do we have Arminian theology? Do we have Lordship salvation or is it not Lordship salvation? Do we use the organ or do we use guitar and drums? Do we witness with an in-your-face kind of style or do we witness with a soft voice? Do we use recited prayers or do we use spontaneous prayers? Do we use liturgy or do we not use liturgy? Do we dress up in church or do we dress down at church? And the attitude that I see boils down to, from one Christian to another at best, would be you have to look like me and think like me to be a good Christian or else you're living in sin. And at worst, it's you have to look like me and think like me to be a Christian, period, to be a Christian. Guys, I've been thinking about Sanctified Heart's video that she did a week or so ago maybe about the sheep butting heads, and from the book Shepherd's View of the 23rd Psalm. And I've been thinking about that, and I'm thinking, now not only are the sheep butting heads, the sheep are rabid.
He's had 127 fights, winning 120, 78 by knockout.
The sheep have rabies. God didn't make millions of Christians to have millions of identical twins. We have different functions in the body and, yes, sometimes different understandings. Galatians 5:15 says, if you keep on biting and devouring each other, watch out, or you will be destroyed by each other. John 13:35 says, by this all men will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. Finally, when we do this, our eyes are on the other sheep, and we're comparing the other sheep to what the standard is, when our eyes should be on Christ. If the other sheep are his and and they're out of line, the shepherd will correct the sheep. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. The shepherd uses rod and the staff to pull the sheep in, and sometimes, yes, if he had to break the sheep's leg, and he would put him over the shoulder and carry the sheep back. But it was the shepherd. There was the shepherd that corrected the sheep. And the sheep seemed to have confused themselves with the shepherd. The shepherd corrects because the shepherd is perfect. The shepherd is God, and he has perfect understanding. He has no log in his own eye to take out before he corrects someone else, before he proclaims someone else's eternity, before he condemns someone else. The sheep are not the shepherd.